He was staring at Binta with shock written all over his face. The tears in her eyes had found their way out of their comfort zone. "Are you alright?" he finally asked. "Prosper, you deceived me," Binta said as she fell on the bed dejectedly. "My God-given bride. I... He suddenly began to stammer, confirming Binta's fear. "For how long were you going to keep hiding this from me?" Binta asked as she suddenly started crying louder. I... Prosper's tongue had lost its eloquence. Binta picked up the phone and read out the message his sister sent to his hearing. "Please, stop disturbing me. I am in a youth meeting. I will call you as soon as I'm out. Now you are complaining. Didn't I warn you to tell her before the wedding? Do you think such secrets can last forever? Deal with it, bro. I have tried my best." Prosper fell on his knees, his hands on his head. He had tears dropping from his eyes too. But Binta didn't care. Her heart had been broken into irreparable pieces. "You have a child somewhere, right?" Binta asked, because that was all she could interpret the content of the message to mean. Prosper looked at her, more confused. "What child?" he asked. "Don't you dare to deny it." Binta flared up at him, charging towards him. "You have a child somewhere. Or could it be that you impregnated another woman? Oh my goodness. Prosper, you deceived me. You deceived me," she started sobbing. "I don't have a child anywhere. I don't," he said, and Binta almost slapped him, but she didn't. She still managed to control her anger so it doesn't get out of hands. "Babe, please calm down. At least hear me out. It is not what you were thinking. Please hear me out first. I love you and I didn't want to lose you. Prosper, you are such a liar, a deceiver and hypocrite. Tell me who this other woman is. Who is she?" "I don't have any other woman. You are the only liar. Prosper, you are a blatant liar. I promise you, if I find out who she is, you will have to choose between the both of us." Prosper held his head like someone who was having a headache. She hissed and walked out of the room angrily. She picked up the car keys and sped off to Doris' apartment as she had a lot of questioning to do. She was driving recklessly, but she didn't care. It was as if the anger had overwhelmed her. Trust her motorcyclist. They were dashing her curses and waka. Binta still didn't care or say a word to any of them. She just needed to get to Doris' apartment. If they still had parents, she would have gone straight to them. But fortunately, her mother and father-in-law were no more. After Doris finished up with her final exams in the school, she decided to rent an apartment instead of staying in their parents' mansion. She said she didn't want men to feel intimidated and begin to run away from her. The mansion was left to be taken care of by the gatekeeper and the gardener. Binta got to the streets and parked her car outside the house. She knocked at the gate and the gatekeeper opened for her. He greeted, but Binta couldn't respond. She kept going towards Doris' apartment. Her heart was beating faster than normal. She had taken Doris as her own sister. She said, "Why didn't she tell me the truth? Why did she hide so secret from me? No wonder she kept begging me to please stay with her brother to the end." She got to the entrance and was just about to knock on the door when she heard Doris conversing with someone on the phone. With the tone of her voice, Binta could tell that she was furious. She decided to wait till she was through with the conversation before knocking. During the process of waiting by the door, she was able to hear all that she was discussing with the other person on the line. Don't blame me any further, please. You are the one who brought this problem upon yourself. After all, I pestered you enough before the wedding that you should let her know, Doris said. And immediately, Binta realized it was her brother Prosper that she was talking to on the phone. Prosper called her as soon as Binta left the house in order to vent his anger on her. What were you thinking, bro? That you will adopt a child and live happily ever after? What will it cost you to confide in your wife that you are impotent? My brother, you can't continue to hide. Will you keep on telling her that you have headache forever? Tell her the truth that you can't perform as a man. She blunted the worst news. Binta's ears felt too heavy to take them. Wait a minute. My husband is what? As in, Prosper is impo. No, I didn't hear her clearly. Maybe she wanted to say that my Prosper is important. But wait, what's the correlation? Yay! She screamed, but it was only in her mind. She couldn't scream out. The shock was just too much for her to digest. She staggered out of the compound into her car. She was really confused as she wept while driving. Oh, my Prosper doesn't have a side chick or a side hen. He doesn't even have a child outside wedlock, but he is an impotent. All her beautiful fantasies had been cut off. She said, I waited for good 28 years of my life and I got an impotent deceiver? Her mind went back to the scene in the church. No wonder Prosper was so uncomfortable with the girl's question. She screamed, Lord Jesus, I am in trouble. She parked by the roadside because she couldn't continue with the driving any longer. She had been driving for the past 20 minutes with no particular destination in mind. She placed her head on the steering wheel and wept bitterly. Her phone kept on ringing, but she didn't pick up. It was Prosper calling. A persistent voice whispered to her mind, it is a marriage of deceit. File for a divorce. You will be miserable in this marriage. Just file for a divorce right away. Call Barrister Jide. You know he is good at handling such cases, the voice added. Prosper kept on calling and gave her at least 20 missed calls. Binta finally decided to go to her parents' house as she can't go back to Prosper until she had made up her mind on what step to take. She said, I will try as much as possible not to let my parents know anything, at least not now. But we all know our African mothers. They will definitely guess that something is wrong somewhere. Before you take a step, they already know your destination. Binta's eyes were red and swollen. Plus, it's just the second day of their wedding and she's back to their house to pass the night. These were just more than enough to communicate to her mother that something is definitely wrong somewhere. She just prayed that her father will allow her stay till tomorrow morning so she can just dress up and go to her place of work. Maybe then she can decide on what next to do. As she drove to her parents' house, several thoughts kept running through her mind. She flashed back to when she met Prosper. It was during one of those Sunday school classes on a Sunday morning. She had been attending that class for years, but never had she noticed Prosper until that morning. A question was raised and Prosper stood up to give an answer. He answered so beautifully that everyone applauded him. She was really impressed at his sharp wit. That wasn't the incident that got them close anyway, but that was the first time she would notice him in the church. The church is really big, that in each Sunday school class, They have over 100 students. The voice whispered to her again. Is Dumebi not better than you now? At least she knows that her man is capable of performing his marital duty on bed. When they get married, she knows she will become a mother almost immediately after wedding. Now look at where your stupidity has landed you. Binta packed her car again and began to weep. She felt she had been foolish and stupid to have waited, and that's exactly what the devil wanted. She managed to drive down to her parents' house, and her eyes were really red and swollen. When she arrived, the gatekeeper noticed her eyes immediately and started asking questions out of concern for her welfare. Auntie B, are you okay? Are you sick? Uncle Prosper, uncle. I am fine, and nothing is wrong with Prosper. Is Dad and Mom in? No, Dad and Mom went for evening fellowship. Thank God, Beta said in her mind. Please, don't inform them that I'm around whenever they are back. I mean it. I want to surprise them, so please don't ruin it for me. Now, she just lied because she wasn't in any way planning to surprise her parents. Her thought was to go in straight into her former room, lock herself up and sleep if she can find any till the next morning. She would get dressed up as early as possible before they wake up so they won't know she came around, and then we go to her place of work, as she still have some of her corporate dresses that she left behind in her wardrobe thinking they were not useful again. Now they are going to be over useful. She was not expected to be at her place of work until next week. She was given a week off from work. Her boss, Mr. Jude, was extremely nice to her because the norm in the company was to give just 3 days off to anyone planning for his or her wedding. Several people murmured. Some even said it to her face that Mr. Jude was being unfair by giving her preferential treatment, but none of them could blunt it out to his face. She once heard them rumored it that she was having an affair with the boss, and that's why he's been unnecessarily nice to her. None of them could face the truth that Jude likes her for being industrious. Now, if they see her in the office tomorrow, what will her explanation be? For now, Binta doesn't care about what anyone says or thinks. She just needs to be far away from Prosper until she decides on what next to do. Auntie B, are you okay? The gatekeeper asked, bringing Binta back from her rivalry. I said I am fine. Just don't tell them that I'm in, Binta said, almost shouting at the kind man. But what about your car? He asked. Oh, I forgot. That's true. My parents will see my car outside and will definitely know I am around. She didn't give me any reply. She just went towards the door to open it and get inside, but the door was locked. Did they drop the key with you? She asked. No, he replied. Binta became so tired. She went back into her car and decided there was no other place she should go aside Dumebi's house. But this doesn't sound like a nice option because Dumebi is very inquisitive and sensitive. She will not rest until she knows what the problem is. Binta may be angry with Prosper, but was determined never to expose his secret for the world to know. She wasn't ready to subject her husband to an object of ridicule. She got some water to wash her face, wiped her face with face towel, checked it in the rearview mirror, but her eyes were still red and swollen. She told the gateman, "Don't bother telling my parents that I came. I will leave now," and without waiting for any response, she drove off to Dumebi's house. Grrrr! She rang the doorbell, and it took almost 5 minutes before Dumebi came to open the door. She was tying a small towel. Oh, Binta, sweetie, what's good now? You are supposed to be in the moon enjoying honey. What are you doing here for Christ's sake? She said, smiling, still standing by the door. Binta was grateful she didn't notice her countenance. She pushed her out of the way mildly and walked in, only to meet her fiancé Smith on the bed, completely naked. Binta said in her mind, shameless thing. Smith winked at her before reluctantly covering himself with the bed cover. She looked angrily at Dumebi, who was smiling sheepishly, not finding a single word of explanation to give to Binta. What does she even want to explain anyways? That after teaching powerfully in the Sunday school today against fornication, quoting Bible verses upon Bible verses, she still had the guts to open her legs wide for an idiot who doesn't even seem ready for marital commitment 10 years from now. Binta hissed and walked out angrily. Dumebi held her short towel and followed her. Calm down, babe. That's my fiancé Smith now. You want to say you don't know him? You couldn't even say hi to him. Binta stopped. She wasn't sure if she was angry at Dumebi for the shameful act of hers, or if she was just transferring the aggression from the secret she just discovered on her. Next time, tell that fiancé or partner of yours that it is rude to wink at married women, especially when he is naked. Pele o, married woman. We too, we go soon marry. Shall come inside, let's gist. Come inside where? I am sorry, I don't have any gist and I am not going back there. Binta, calm down now. Since when has he been around? Since yesterday now. Didn't you notice him at your wedding reception? I didn't. How many people do you think I'll be able to notice? Oh yeah, come inside now, babe. Look, he's leaving today. That's why he insisted on having a taste before leaving. So, madam, you have now turned yourself into a soup. Soup that a man has to taste before. Binta could not finish before Dumebi interrupted her. Binta, it is not my fault. I can't resist his touch. We have gone too deep in this art. I want to stop, but I don't know how to. And Smith is not even making it easy for me to stop. He said he can't hold himself, and if I don't want him to be sleeping with other girls, I have to satisfy his urge so well. So well that I'll be the only one he thinks about. I know it is not right, but what can I do? I am 30 already, Binta, Dumebi said, almost at the verge of tears. Binta didn't feel any iota of pity for her. Instead, she resented her foolishness. And you believe him? Do you think he's not sleeping with other girls? I don't know, but Dumebi interrupted her again. Look, we are getting married soon. Does it even matter? After all, we are all sinners. It is not like I'm happy doing it, but I have no choice. I love Smith and I don't want to lose him. I pray for forgiveness and God forgives me, so stop judging me, Binta. The fact that you were able to keep your virginity till your wedding night is just by grace. I am not sleeping around. I am doing it with my man, my fiancé, and it's only him. Do you think I too don't want to be like you? Virgin till married? She said as tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. Binta looked at her for a while before speaking. I am sorry if it looks like I'm judging you. You know I care so much about you. I don't want you to fall into the hands of a pretender. I don't just trust Smith. Thanks, but I'll be fine. I love him and I feel secured with him, she said. Will you at least come in now? She asked, but Binta declined. The sight of Smith pisses her off. I need to go, Dumebi. We will see later. Bye. She walked out of the compound and got into the car. She said, my friend didn't even notice my red and swollen eyes. Well, she has something better that's captivated her attention. Smith has been eating her up. What other things matter again? There was no other place to go. She needed to go home. Whether she likes it or not, home was the only option. Her phone didn't stop ringing. Doris too had started calling her, but she didn't pick her calls either. She had hurt her badly and she needed some time to herself before she decides whether or not she wants to speak with her. She got home, opened the door and walked into the living room. Her husband was pacing up and down like someone in deep mess. Well, is he not truly in a deep mess? He turned and saw her walking in. She pretended as if she didn't notice him. She was going to mount the stairs, go into the bedroom, take a shower, sleep if she can, and then get up so early tomorrow morning to get back to work. Dear, you scared me. I have thought of calling Dad and Mom, but I didn't want to get them worried, Prosper said as he stood on her way trying to get her attention. Binta, please, I am sorry. It is not what you think. I don't have a side chick or any child outside. Please, you are the only one I love. Prosper doesn't know his secret has been revealed to her already. Maybe if he does, he would have found a shell to creep into to hide his shame. Binta was angry and said in her mind, see this one, deceiver. She kept staring angrily at him. She didn't utter a word. Prosper heard her, but she withdrew from him immediately and said again in her mind, don't start what you cannot finish. She wanted to say a lot of things to him, but sincerely she didn't even know where to start from. Prosper said to her, please, let me explain to you what Doris meant by that message she sent to you the other time. And Binta kept calm, trying to see if he was now ready to spit it out with his own mouth. Actually, the secret she was talking about was the terrible mistake I made years back. While still in the university, I joined a cult group and I was expelled. So after that, my dad had to send me abroad to finish my studies. He was saying several things, but Binta didn't listen again. As in, for how long has he been cooking this lie? Kai! Prosper is an unrepentant liar. Those were the thoughts running through Binta's mind. If only he knew she knows more than enough already, he wouldn't be wasting his time on his ugly lies. Good night, Prosper, she managed to say as she pushed him gently out of her way. Neither of them ate that night. The whole house was silent, except for the barkings of the dog they kept in the cage. They laid on the bed with some space between them. Her back was turned to him. She could feel there were times he wanted to touch her or talk to her, but he was too scared to. He probably didn't know what her reaction would be. At exactly 6:30 the following morning, which was on a Monday, she was already prepared to step out for work. She didn't bother to make any food for Prosper or herself. Where are you going? Prosper asked, but she didn't give him any response. She walked out, got into the car and drove off to her office. She knows she will have several questioning looks to ignore, several unguided comments, especially from Teju, but she didn't care. Work was the only escape route from home at the moment. But Jude, what will I tell him? She only prayed he won't be back from the conference he went for in London, as she doesn't have the energy to begin to deal with questions. Just as she had guessed, their eyes bulged out, staring at her. She met few of her colleagues at work while some were yet to resume work. They had this questioning look on their faces, and she knew immediately that she was wrong to have come to office today. But that was her only escape route from home. If she goes anywhere alone, maybe hotel, relaxation center or any other place, she'll be consumed with diverse kind of thoughts. But coming to work will get her occupied and there will be no chance to begin to have worrisome thoughts. Happy married life! Congratulations! You look so radiant. Marriage surely looks good on you. Several compliments kept coming from every angle. She guessed they realized their questioning look was beginning to embarrass her, so they had to find something to charge up the atmosphere. She answered them all with a smile, a nod, plus a thank you before rushing into her office. Teju was not yet in the office, and she was glad about that. She placed her head on the desk and tried to say some prayers, but she couldn't find any word to say. So she opened her mouth and simply asked, Lord, why? Miss Binta. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Binta. The boss wants to see you. That was the secretary telling her Mr. Jude wanted to see her. What? He is back? My goodness. What reason will I say brought me here just 2 days after my wedding? Those were the thoughts running through her mind. Okay, I will be there in a jiffy. Thanks. She got up immediately, worried about what to tell her boss. She looked around to see if Teju was around yet, but she wasn't. She knocked at the door. Come in. His voice was gentle, yet commanding. She walked in reluctantly, keeping a smile on her face. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for the other day. I am really grateful. May God bless you, sir. She rushed those words like they were crammed. Mr. Jude stared at her for a long while before asking her to take her seat, which she did almost immediately. What went wrong? He asked, and Binta was shocked. He knows already that something is wrong? She tried to put a fake smile on her face, pretending as if all was well. Nothing went wrong. I just missed work, she said. What went wrong? He asked again. I am fine, sir, Binta answered. I didn't ask you if you were fine or not. I said, what went wrong? Nothing, she answered rather rudely. I am not a kid. By December, I will be 34 years. I have been in several relationships that didn't work out, and I know when a woman is not happy. Every woman doesn't leave the side of her lover, especially when the lover knows how to play his game well. So I ask again, what went wrong? She kept silent for some seconds before answering her boss. Nothing, sir. Okay then, go back to your office, clear your table, and go back home. The 1 week I gave to you to enjoy your honeymoon is not yet over, and I can't remember calling you that we needed you in this office, Mr. Jude said, and without waiting for any response, he picked up his laptop and began to work. That was the last thing Binta expected to hear from her boss. Go back home. To who? Prosper? Her eyes were filled with hot tears. Well, she stood up like she was ordered to, started walking towards the door. But just before she got to the door, she felt her boss's hand holding her back. She turned, but couldn't look into his eyes because her eyes were already soaked in tears. He gently pulled her to himself and placed her head on his chest. And that was when she let out the emotions she had bottled up. The tears in her eyes flowed uncontrollably. "It's okay. You will be fine," he said as he led her back to the chair she just stood up from. He sat directly opposite her on the desk, wiping her tears with his bare hands. "I understand you may not want to confide in me, but I have a cousin who is a marriage counselor. Anytime you're ready, let me know. I will drive you down to our office," he said. "I will be fine," Binta answered. "Your secrets are safe with her, if that's your fear." "Okay, sir. I will let you know when I am ready. But for now, thanks for your concern." "You don't want to go back home?" he asked, and Binta nodded. "But staying here will raise people's suspicion. Why not try to work till around 12 p.m. and leave after then? It's just an advice though." "Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And if you still insist on working till the normal closing hour, then no problem, dear." She thanked Mr. Jude before walking out of his office to hers. There was no more job for her to do, as the work she was supposed to do for the week has been given to Kemi, her colleague, whose office was next to hers. Her husband called severally, but she didn't pick up. His sister also called, but she ignored her calls as well. Several other people were calling to congratulate her on the success of the wedding, but she refused to pick any. The only calls she took were the ones from her parents. They had called to check on her and on Prosper. When they asked of Prosper, she told them he wasn't close by. She dares not tell them that she is at work while he is at home. Hey, African Tales by Kama Tribe. Do you think Binta is handling this issue the right way? And do you also think that this marriage will survive this storm? Well, I promise there are a lot of things for us to learn from this particular series. So please do not miss any of the episode. You can please support me by buying me a coffee using the link on my bio or the link on the description of this video. You can also buy me super things. Till I bring the next episode of the series your way, it is a goodbye from here and God bless you.